Hi everyone, welcome back. So this is one of our first workshops of the afternoon for the Wilder Generation Youth Summit, and we're here with some fantastic people from Lindengate Mental Health Charity who are going to be delivering this afternoon's workshop all around nurture your nature. And just some housekeeping, that if you have got any questions as the presentation and the workshop is going along, please do use the Q&A function, which is at the bottom of the taskbar. You won't be able to use the chat. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A function. That would be great. So I'm going to hand over to Charlie. She'll introduce herself and the rest of the team. And yeah, really looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. So thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks, Kate. It's a real pleasure, and hello to you all. My name's Charlie and I'm the General Manager and one of the co-founders of Lindengate. And helping me this afternoon with the workshop, I've got Anne. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everybody. Lovely to be with you. I've been with Lindengate now for about 3 years, and I have just starting on a new project as project manager called the Nature Alliance, and we'll be telling you lots more about that later on.
And Jake?
Hello everyone, I'm Charlie's son. I've been a volunteer at Lindengate for forever, as you can imagine, but I graduated uni last year, and with the job market kind of the way it is at the moment, I've been spending more and more time there kind of helping out, and yeah, here I am.
So do you want to share the screen with everybody now, Jake, please?
Sure.
Thank you. We've called our workshop this afternoon Nurture Your Nature, which is a little bit of a play on words, because to Lindengate there's two things that are really, really important to us. One is that we nurture nature, but it's also that we nurture our own nature. So we're going to be talking today all about how you can build well-being resilience into your life and get connected through the guardianship of our natural world. And I think probably one of the most important things for us to do for you now is we've got a short video that we're going to show you, which actually tells you a lot more about sort of what Lindengate is doing. So Jake, can you push the button on the video?
Welcome to Lindengate. Come on in. So Charlie, what is Lindengate? What's it all about?
Well, essentially Lindengate is a mental health charity, but it's way more than that, really. We operate out of a 5-acre site, which we turned into a wildlife haven. So we effectively nurture nature as well as nature nurturing us, because we're all about connecting people to nature and using the wonderful tool that is to support people in improving their well-being. But alongside that, we do so much more: crafts, woodworking, kitchen garden, formal gardens, you name it. People can come here and learn all sorts of different new skills alongside improving their well-being.
So Claire, what was it that made you sign up to be a volunteer here at Lindengate?
Well, I really wanted to volunteer somewhere that I could use some of my skills, and I came on a visit to Lindengate and thought it was just marvellous, and really wanted to come and join in and be part of the volunteers group here that keep Lindengate looking as good as it does.
And what are the benefits for you?
It gives me a destination, gives me somewhere lovely to come, to be in the outdoors. It's a different project every time I come, and I get to meet, socially distanced, I get to meet other volunteers as well.
So how can people support Lindengate?
Well, now more than ever, it's critical for us to have people supporting us so that we continue to support others. There are many ways in which people can help us, either through having us as their charity of the year with their workplace, or even if they're thinking about some sort of fundraising event. Lindengate would appreciate anything anyone can do to help us. If you'd like to make a one-off payment or set up regular payments, you can go to our website for all details on lindengate.org.uk.
Do You want to move on to the next slide, please, Jake? Okay, everybody. So what we basically do is now called Nature, Health and Wellbeing. And we work with this model, which I suppose all of us tap into it somewhere. There's 3 levels, really. There's everyday life, which is where, you know, just as it says, really, every day you somewhere along the line within your life are likely to have an opportunity to connect to nature. It may be walking to school. Health promotion is taking it a stage further, and that's kind of making the decision that you actually want to help yourself and do something where you make that decision to connect to nature through volunteering. So you might be volunteering for BBOWT. We heard some great stories this morning from some of the young people who currently are working alongside BBOWT to make a difference to the natural world. And you can do the same here at Lindengate. The other thing that we do at Lindengate, which is where we really show our I suppose what we call our unique selling point, is we do what's called green care, which is where we actually take the tool that is nature and all that it has to offer, and we put that into a series of meaningful activities. And we also generate an opportunity for people to start to re-engage in the social context as well. So it's very gentle, therapeutic environment. It's not clinical at all. And it's something which is very much more about building your resilience and helping you to understand how you can learn things in your everyday life and your habits that are going to help you to build resilience and well-being as you go through. If you want to move on to the next slide, please. At Lindengate, what we do is we have what's called an all-age integrated service. Now, the importance of that is that mental health or your well-being is not what we call linear. So it's not like a broken arm where if you break your arm, there's a clear understanding of what you're going to need to do and how long it's going to take. Whereas with and once it's mended, generally it's mended and you can use it as you did before. With well-being, it kind of ebbs and flows, and there's an awful lot of things in your life that might impact on how good your well-being is. For example, there aren't many of us at the moment who haven't been impacted by what's going on with COVID and the fact that, you know, for the last year, our lives have been turned upside down. We've lost the structure. We aren't able to be connected to our friends and family in the way we would like to. And, you know, there are very, very, very few people now whose well-being hasn't been impacted on that. So it might be something that is within your control, or it might be something that isn't. But with an all-age integrated service, that means that you can move between the various elements of it. So, you know, there have been times in my life where I seriously needed the green care element, but now I'm more the everyday life. I think my family would rather I did a bit more of the health promotion, but, you know, it's just where are you at in your life and which bit of that do you need? So in Lindengate, with all the programs that we do, you can come to us and you can move amongst the various things that we do according to where you're at. Next slide, please. One of the other really important things about what we do is that in order for us to know that what we're doing is working, we have to evaluate it and we have to measure it. And we've tried lots of different ways of doing that over the 5 or 6 years that we've been operational. But the one that we always come back to, which the NHS use as well, is called the 5 Ways to Wellbeing. And it's something that you can do yourselves. And we'll show you actually ways later on where you can actually bring the benefits of connecting, being active, taking notice, keeping learning and giving into your own home. So you don't actually have to have a garden outside. You don't have to have access to woodlands and wildlife spaces. You can still help your well-being. But just to take you quickly through these, connect. I mean, you know, we've all felt the effects of isolation. particularly recently, and that can often lead to feeling very disconnected from the important things in life. And one of the things that we do here, and you can do for yourself with some of the other things that we'll be telling you about later, is find ways to reconnect. And that can be connecting to nature, which can help you. It can be connecting to other people. Being active, well, the government spent so much time and effort telling us that we need to get outside and be active every day. So I don't really think I need to say a huge amount more about that. But, you know, if we aren't active, it impacts on our well-being. Equally, if our well-being isn't good, it then will impact on our ability to be active. So they kind of go hand in hand. Take notice. I suppose my best example of this is I think it was on Country File actually. Last week, I saw a feature that was all about someone who created a whole program about taking notice of the wildflowers in an urban area. And the ones, you know, the ones that you see growing through the cracks in the pavement. Some of them are actually really beautiful, and all of them have a purpose. You know, in the old days, wildflowers were medicines. They healed. They provided food, all sorts of different things. Soap. In fact, we grow a great deal of wildflowers at Lindengate that actually do all sorts of things like that. But taking notice is about actually stopping and slowing down and getting yourself into a mindset that enables your brain and your whole self to be in the moment, which enables you also to let go of all the stuff that might be worrying you. Keep learning. Well, we all know we need to keep learning. And I mean, I just gone through my 60th birthday, which was quite a stepping stone for me. But actually, in my time in life, I think I'm probably learning as much now as I was when I was at school and college. And it is really, really important for me. If I wasn't keeping learning, I would be bored stiff. And giving, even in small ways, being able to give to somebody is something we should all do anyway. But also, it's surprising what a good feeling you get from giving, and that helps your well-being. So if you could move to the next slide. What we're going to do now is take you through some of the ways in which you can help yourself, but also some of the things that you can do to connect to what we're talking about through Lindengate and through other things that are going on around in the county. Lindengate at Home is something that we haven't had for very long. We set it up last year very quickly once we went into the first lockdown, because, you know, we realized that what we do at Lindengate needed people to be here in the gardens, but then we thought, well, how can we actually take Lindengate into people's homes? And it's for everyone who might be struggling with the effects of COVID, or just putting COVID to one side, the effects of life, which can be quite difficult. Your normal structure and balance, it has been seriously disrupted, and many of us are having to, particularly at the moment, deal with life-changing circumstances. So Lindengate at Home, we've adapted to support anyone's needs, and it's designed to help you gently regain some structure and purpose in your day and learn how to reconnect, albeit in different ways, because we all do these things in different ways. And one of the things about supporting somebody's well-being is that you have to respect that it is a very, very individual thing. No two people's experiences are going to be the same. So the activities that we have on Lindengate at Home are designed to help you regain your well-being. Simple, easy to follow activities, and they're based on what we very successfully use to support people at Lindengate, using those 5 ways of well-being. So Jake and Anne actually had some fun a couple of days ago on site doing a video that gives you a couple of examples of things you can do at home. They're not going to cost you anything, and they mean that you can connect to nature and help your well-being without actually going out of your front door. So over to Anne. Okay.
As part of Lindengate at Home, we set up some activities for you to try at home. And you don't need a huge garden for these activities. Just do them in your own space and grow on the vegetables and the fruits on your windowsill. So one of the activities is actually how to grow on a pineapple from the little bit that you'd normally chuck in the bin. And we're going to show you how to do that. So you get just a regular pineapple and you cut off the top. That bit we'll eat later on, and you'll find that the flesh will just come off if you pull it around the stalk, because what you want to do is to bare the root nodes that are hidden under here. Now earlier I trimmed off one of the tops of the pineapples, and you'll see when we have a close-up that the little brown spots are actually the root nodes of the pineapple, and that's where the new roots will spring from. So if you see what I've done is I've actually taken off all the tiny little leaves, pulled it right back, and then just cut. You keep cutting away the flesh until you see those little root nodes. Then you pop it to the side for a couple of days just to dry out, so it doesn't go mouldy when you plant it. And then all you need is a little bit of compost and some water, and you just dampen down the compost and then just present the top of the pineapple into the compost, and just make sure that it's quite sturdy. And then you just water in, and the best way to water a growing pineapple top is actually into the leaves itself, because the leaves will then hold the water for a while, and you need to do this every few days, just don't want it to dry out. And just remember that a pineapple is a tropical plant, so it's going to need a bit of heat and some humidity as well, so perhaps the best place to put that would be in your bathroom or shower room, and then just enjoy the time with it, and it will grow new roots in probably about 3 to 4 weeks, and you'll know when it's grown roots, because when you try to just pull out the top of the pineapple, it will be slightly resistant to you pulling that out. So just leave it there for a while, and eventually it will grow beautiful new green shoots, and you've got a beautiful house plant. And then in 2 or 3 years time, if you've looked after it well enough, it will give you a little baby pineapple. So there we are, pineapple for free from something you'd have chucked away. One of our other activities that we're suggesting that you do at home is to grow on some more tomatoes for this summer. If you cut open a tomato, you'll see that there are hundreds of tiny little seeds in there, all wanting to grow into a tomato plant. So really easy to do. If you get your pot of compost, cut some little wedges of tomato, pop them in there, just make sure that they're secure, and then just cover with a very light covering of compost. And as we did with the pineapple, just water in. Pop those out of sunlight, but on a windowsill with good light, or again in your bathroom where it's sort of quite moist. And in 14 days, these will have grown into tiny, tiny little shoots. And you need to make sure that when they're grown, they're slightly more robust. You can then prick them out and put 4 into a separate pot and grow those on. And in the summer, you should get some really beautiful tomatoes for free.
Thanks for that, guys. One of the things I will add to that is that if you're going to prick out your tomato seedlings, you need to make sure they've got at least 3 leaves before you do that, and you need to not touch the leaves any more than you absolutely have to. In fact, if you can prick them out just touching the stem, that's a lot better. And when we say prick out, what we mean is basically you're going to have those seeds will come up through your tomatoes. All you're really doing is taking each seedling and putting it into its own little pot. So it has more space to grow. And every time that you see the roots coming through the pot, you need to put it into a bigger one. Because we can control how big a plant gets by the size of the pot we put it in. So yeah, there's lots and lots of things on Lindengate at home. And, you know, for instance, if you're keen on photography, there's lots of things you can do to explore nature using your cameras. But have a look, it's well worth it. Now, okay, so to what you can do if you actually come to Lindengate. Well, the first thing we would suggest you do if you're not sure is just come and have a look. And we have a thing called Rest and Reflect, which is effectively a drop-in, but it means you can come and explore the gardens and the wildlife haven. And at this time of the year, there is so much to see. We've got massive big ponds, we've got wildflower meadows, we've got kitchen gardens, we've got all the sort of formal gardens. There's lots of quirky things around the site as well, because we do heritage art and craft. It's a really fun place to be, actually, and it's not just a garden, it's an exceptionally interesting place. So on the screen you can see what times you can come at the moment, and then we'll be changing to the summertime on the 29th of March. And, you know, we get a lot of people coming to Rest and Reflect. And in fact, last year we had over 1,500 people who came to Rest and Reflect, because they very quickly realised that it really helped them just to spend some time in a place where there's no expectation. You can be calm, you can be quiet, you know, you're safe. There's not going to be lots of people. And, you know, you can come along with a picnic, you can come along with a book. You know, we had some people who came along and they did some work because we got Wi-Fi around the system. There's lots of places to sit, and you can meet friends when we're allowed to, which is not far off. We're nearly there. And it's just a really, really lovely place to come and see. So I would highly recommend it. And we got lots of quotes, and I mean, Anne and Jake, you've got some of them in front of you. Could you read them out for us, just so people get an idea of what other people are saying, not just what
Yes. Yeah, this is the first one. A fabulous opportunity to take some time out and feel at one again after such a stressful time. The garden looks most fantastic every time I come.
And another person said, this exceeded my expectations. It was a fantastic, relaxing space, letting you be at one with nature.
And another person said, I feel really relaxed. It has done me the world of good just walking around and taking this in.
Thanks for your kindness. We've really enjoyed being here and we'll come longer next time.
Thank you, guys. And, you know, Rest and Reflect, I mean, you might think it's not for you, but we have all ages here. And we've recently had an awful lot of young families with their children, because they've been, let's face it, we're not all going to be good at homeschooling. And I'm sure some of you struggle with that element of what's been going on at the moment. So mums and dads have struggled with that as well. And so we did a big campaign to encourage them to come along to Lindengate, and it's, you know, given the youngsters a chance to have a good run around, and we've done a nature trail and there's lots that you can learn, and it's really gone down very, very well. But we also, for instance, this morning we've had a group of 12 under 18 volunteers who've been learning how to plant a willow bed. And there's just all sorts of opportunities here at Lindengate. And if we're not doing what you would like, then we're very open to looking at alternatives and how we can plug in those sorts of things. So come and have a look. Next slide, please, Jake. Oh, this, we were very lucky when we set up Rest and Reflect last year to actually be asked by BBC South Today News to do a feature. So we thought you would like to see it, because again, it's really important that it's not just us saying that it's good for you to connect to nature and give and spend time to that whole scenario. This is what other people think.
Good evening. First tonight, the impacts of coronavirus on the mental health of NHS staff dealing with some of the sickest patients. Libby Macaro says she and her colleagues need time to recover from the intense times of the past 4 months. Recently, she's received unique support offered by a mental health charity in Buckinghamshire. Linden Gate has 5 acres of therapeutic gardens near Aylesbury, which have reopened to key workers over the last few weeks. Louisa Curry reports.
Taking time to breathe and reflect on a difficult few months.
We face things that we would never have expected to face in our nursing lives. A lot of us have been isolated from our families and spent 3 months living in the spare room, and wearing PPE has been yet another burden. It's been hot, it's been uncomfortable. And then our poor patients that, they're the sickest group of patients that we've probably ever had to deal with. And we pride ourselves on looking after patients and families, and yet we've had this massive barrier that we haven't been able to have the relatives in. It's just not the same as holding somebody's hand and looking after them. So that's been hard. It's been hard.
Libby is a critical care nurse at Stoke Mandeville Hospital.
Now we've got time to sort of sit and reflect and breathe. I think we're able to process what we and our patients families have been through, and it has been hideous.
For the last few weeks, Linden Gate have been offering frontline workers the chance to visit and connect with nature.
This is a place where they can gently start to adjust. That may be all they need to do. Start to actually realise that it's okay to not be okay, and put their toe in the water a little bit about how they might feel about getting some support and help. It's a very gentle, nurturing environment. It's allowing people to come and find some peace.
The charity relies on volunteers like Dave to help maintain the gardens.
It's about giving something back to the NHS, doing something while I wasn't working. I've got a niece who's been working on a COVID ward in South Wales, and I've listened to what she said coming home frightened, and somewhere like this is ideal to just get away from what they've been through.
They don't provide clinical care, more a listening ear, and help accessing further support if needed.
You can spend 12 hours without seeing daylight and just have some thinking space, and it's just really, really important.
150 NHS workers have already visited, but they're expecting a huge increase in demand for mental health support for all in the wake of coronavirus. Louisa Curry, BBC South Today.
Thanks, Jake. And I mean, what that also does is give you a bit more of an idea of what the site looks like, because that was done in May last year. So, and you'll be pleased to hear that we have, the mallards have returned, our faithful year-on-year mallards. So we will have the ducklings wandering around the site in amongst us, and also we've got more hens that are nesting too. We have, I'm afraid, decided we didn't want the Canada geese, so they got the hose treatment, but didn't do them any harm. But at least they now know that they're not welcome, because they do make a bit of a mess. Jake and Anne are now going to tell you about Green Volunteers. Green Volunteers is the group I was talking to you about earlier that we're here this morning, and it's a growing group, and it's become a very important part of what we do here at Linden Gate. So Anne, I wonder if you could take that on for me.
Yes, so we encourage volunteers, people under the age of 18, to come and enjoy the gardens with us and volunteer. We have some fantastic opportunities here, and to learn some skills sort of outside the schoolroom is really important for those youngsters. And obviously, we've all been slightly isolated through the last year. So to give them an opportunity to come to a garden like this and to be with other people, although it's socially distanced, it has really been an amazing opportunity for those people. And Jake, you've worked with some of these young volunteers, haven't you?
I have, yeah. It's been really rewarding, actually. just sort of having like some kind of structure to kind of come and actually interact with some people and kind of give something back. And I think it really helped them as well when they sort of couldn't go to school, and to kind of give them sort of some time to interact with people like of their own age as well.
Can I just ask you, Jake, the people that perhaps are looking to come and be part of the volunteers, they don't need to have any experience to join us, do they?
No, so I mean, we had like a very broad range of people come. One guy in particular was like very into sort of keeping his own little garden and stuff. And then there's other people that just enjoy coming and getting a bit muddy, or other people that enjoy the social aspect of it, or the sort of kind of bushcraft things we do, or just like having a barbecue with their friends after some hard work.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I noticed with them was that because we started the group in November, because we had people, young people who actually wanted to do something with us. So I thought, okay, off we go, thinking that actually probably they might regret wanting to do it in November, but they came every time, didn't they, Jake? Whatever the weather.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we had times where, well, when we were building this like tire wall along the hedgerow, and the tires, because they're quite heavy to carry, you kind of carry them against your body, and they're covered in mud as well. So we just got absolutely covered, and it was great fun. No one really cared in the end. I think their parents cared by the end of it, but everyone just loved it. But yeah, it'll be nice when it's a bit drier as well and warmer. Just
yeah, and I mean, one of the things that we do at the end of it every time is that we have a fire pit, don't we? And you've been teaching them how to manage the fire and everything as well.
Yeah, a lot of them had a reasonably good idea, also I thought, until they, burnt sausages and things, of how to do most of it already. But yeah, we were sort of like building little fires and cooking different things, managing the fact that some of us were vegan or vegetarian and had various different allergies and stuff, and that was all fun and games. And that kind of was a nice sort of break from like the work we were doing, and it kind of brought everyone together. I mean, like the other volunteers will have like a tea break, which, as you guys know, is like a very sort of, it's like a big event kind of thing at Linden Gate. And
Linden Gate is very well known for its cake, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cake has to be.
And yeah, I think that that's a really kind of big part of it is not just the fact that you come and you work hard at doing whatever we've got planned, but also Linden Gate kind of gives back to you, and you get that time to kind of sort of rest and just enjoy yourself in the space that you've created.
Thanks, Jake. That's really good to hear your thoughts on that. And I mean, one of the things that we're looking to do as we move into the spring and the summer is we grow a lot of native species here, and we also look to grow things that we can use for other activities. So, for instance, rather than just cooking sausages, we will be looking to actually forage from around the site. To then cook with stuff that you've actually found and picked, and also grow some stuff that you can then cook with as well. So there's all of that side of it too. So that's for the under 18s. Then we're also looking at, and we have quite a number of volunteers already who are between the 18 to 24 age group, but we're also looking to set up an 18 to 24 volunteer group during the week, which will cover kind of a lot of the same things that we do with the under 18s. But what we're looking to do with the 18 to 24s more is to perhaps give them a bit more training so that they can then support the growing number of under 18s as well. So it's all about peer support. But I mean, you know, the benefits of doing this sort of thing is that, you know, it's helping us to support nature because, you know, everything we do is based on native species. And we look to increase the habitats on site, but we don't only do that. We work with people like BBOWT, Butterfly Conservation, the Chiltern Society, all sorts of people around generally in the area to support initiatives in other places. So we're looking out as well to see how we can help the environment, not just within the 5 acres of Lindengate. So that's a really important thing, that we're giving people an opportunity to give something back. We're very, very much into, as I said, learning new skills. And it's really important, particularly now, that we provide people with an opportunity to mix face-to-face, and especially with your own peer group, and maybe make new friends. Getting out and about and being active. You know, I'm referring back to all the 5 ways of well-being here. And as Jake said, it will give you some structure to your week. You know, we've got all sorts of volunteers here. Our youngest is 13. Our eldest is 92. And he's the most amazing 92-year-old. You wouldn't believe he was 92. And he actually has been working alongside to help him and enable him to spend more time with us and volunteer for longer, a 19-year-old. And the two of them have really formed a very good friendship. So there's all that side of it. And the other thing is that, you know, if you're struggling at the moment to get work, then actually being able to put on your CV that you have effectively being part of the workforce of Lindengate, and you've learnt skills and you've learnt workability skills and also heritage skills, anything that you might end up picking up, not just from how we train formally, but also you know, our volunteers generally have a wealth of experience and skill amongst them, which you will be able to tap into. So there's all that side of it. So it's, you know, we will be coming out with all sorts of publicity and information about that, but do look on our website, because as I say, we're going to be setting that 18 to 24 group up. And Jake has also, I probably shouldn't say this, Jake, but we were talking about it the other day, and he said he would be interested in possibly being one of the leaders for that group. So, and it will be in the afternoon. Because we appreciate that that's possibly a better time for you guys who are a bit younger. Okay, so the next thing we're going to tell you about, going back to sort of what we were saying about the idea of the 18 to 24 supporting the under 18s, is a formalised training programme that we've put in, that we're doing with Community Impact Bucks. And Community Impact Bucks are the sort of official volunteer support network for bucks, and they're brilliant. And so we've got a 6-week training program that we've put in, where we're training people of all ages, but very specifically at the moment we want to concentrate on the 18 to 24s, to support someone who maybe doesn't quite feel like being a volunteer yet, or maybe they're just wanting to put their toe in the water, or they need a bit of help and support. And the idea is that we pair people up a bit like a buddy system, so that it gives them that opportunity to learn new skills and gain in confidence, so they can then become a full-blown volunteer and a member of our workforce. But Jake, you've done the training, haven't you? Just take us through the structure of it a bit, can you?
Yeah, so we had 2 fairly short sort of training sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, on different days. And they were quite quite like what I'd say like a soft training session. It was very much about bringing out sort of awareness that a lot of us already had of certain important things, of how to support other people, and particular sort of strangers, essentially, rather than, you know, our close friends and family. And that was like a very sort of eye-opening experience in itself, just in terms of becoming aware, or more aware of stuff that I'd kind of already thought about but never experienced. And then diving into the actual program, I was basically paired up with a new volunteer, or an apprentice volunteer. So with the aim of supporting them through the process of being welcomed into Linden Gate, learning the ropes, and sort of meeting other volunteers, and just learning kind of where they fit, what they want to do, what they want to give to Linden Gate, and what they can feel they can kind of get back. And we did just 6 weeks, once a week. We'd come for sort of 3 hours or so, and we've got like a whiteboard in one of our polytunnels, and we kind of report to that and just sort of pick something. Or quite often someone would just say, oh, can you give me a hand with this, or do this or that kind of thing. But we could pretty much choose whatever we wanted. Some people opted for very like calming activities. You know, there's a massive range of stuff you can do. So if you just kind of want to switch off and relax, like something quite repetitive, like just planting seeds, is quite nice. But the guy I was working with, we enjoyed just kind of doing a bit of mindless manual labor. So it was lots of just carrying stuff around, chopping stuff up, that sort of thing. And something that we both found really kind of beneficial, because it's not just about me supporting him, you know, it supported me as well, was that, so say I'm doing work in my own garden and I've got to, I don't know, chop down a, you know, a bush or something, prune a tree or something, and chop it all up and get rid of it. Maybe I've got like a time limit on that. I've planned to do it, you know, maybe someone's expecting me to get it done. And there's none of that at Linden Gate. It's literally just, you're just like a little worker bee, kind of getting on with whatever you've been told to do, or whatever you feel like doing, really. And you can kind of lose yourself in it, and just, it really sort of relaxes your mind and kind of clears it, I would say. And then at the end of the 6 weeks, we kind of sat down, chatted about the experience, and kind of what he wanted to do next, and kind of where he felt he fitted in. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to come for you know, this day, and you know, maybe I'll sort of see you around, and we can like continue working, and I'll work with these guys and that guys.
We seem to have lost Jake, which is a shame.
Have you lost me? I think we might have lost you.
I can still hear you, Jake.
Okay, I'll carry on. I think we might have lost Charlie.
We've just got 5 minutes left, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think. Oh, there we go.
Right, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. We are actually getting through this, running out of time, I think, from my understanding. So I'm just going to take you through very quickly, Jake, if you could take us through to the next stage. Next slide. This is a 16 to 18-year-old program, which is based on bushcraft, which is for those of you who actually might be struggling a bit more and need a bit more support. The next one is for 13 to 15-year-olds. If you move on to planted, please, Jake. So we do have a lot of programs in for which are based on volunteering, but if you really are struggling and you need some more help, then we have other programs that we can help you, where we can help you move along in your recovery so that you can then become a volunteer. It just might take a bit longer. And the next slide, please. And then there's wellbeing pathways and that's for people who really do need more time. So, you know, you could be with us with wellbeing pathways, a session a week. Some people come for like 6 months to a year before they can then become volunteers. But the idea with everything we do at Linden Gate is to move you through so that you can end up finding your own coping mechanisms, your own self-help methods and ways of connecting to nature and using it to build resilience into your well-being throughout your life. Next slide, please. Unfortunately, we're not going to have time to tell you much about the Nature Alliance, but if you want to know more about it, it is a really exciting project. It's something that's going to cover the whole of Bucks and provide opportunities for anyone under 24 to get engaged with the full spectrum of natural engagement opportunities, from woodland activities to care farming and working with animals to everything we've talked to you about with Linden Gate, and also all the BBOWT stuff that wonderful stuff they've been talking to you about today. Please do put your questions to us, because we will come back to you, and we will be sending stuff out via BBOWT all about the Nature Alliance shortly. And then last but by no means least, well, we don't have time for questions, but we will answer them, we promise, if you put them in the Q&A. And then if you want to get hold of us or get in touch with Linden Gate, this is how you get involved. Basically, go to our website, www.lindengate.org.uk, or email us info@lindengate.org.uk, or come to Rest and Reflect. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Hannah. And that was really interesting, really inspiring. It's, you know, it's great to hear about all the fantastic work that you're doing at Linden Gate. There's loads of variety, loads of different ways that people can get involved, can help, you know, themselves with their own mental and physical well-being. There aren't any questions, but there was just a comment saying that you know, we were speaking to under 18s, and they suggested about that variety of engagement and lots of different activities, and that's what you're doing. So, you know, there's lots to take on board, and what we can learn from you guys as well. So I'd just like to say, you know, big thank you once again for being part of our youth summit here today. And I know I'm looking forward to hearing more about the Nature Alliance, and just finding out a bit more about your 18 to 24-year-old new volunteer groups that you're setting up and things like that. So like I say, just big thanks for being part of our youth summit today.
It's a pleasure. We've really enjoyed being with you. Thank you. And good luck with the rest of the day.
Thank you very much. So we're nearly at time. That's perfect timing to end. So thank you to those that watched live, and this is being recorded, so we will be sending this out to everybody who booked on to the Youth Summit so they can watch it back. Do check out Linden Gate, their website. If you've got any questions, then there's the email address as well up on the screen. And yeah, hopefully there'll be more young people getting involved with the fantastic work that you're doing in Buckinghamshire. So I'm going to end the session now, and just like I say big thanks again for joining us.
Bye, everybody.